Hello, hello. Welcome. We'll just let everybody pile in. Hi, so my name's Herb. you may know me from other things in the skills and learning stream. Thank you so much for joining us. We have as part of this session a bit of a double take. We have some stories of real life mainframers who were part of a program that our two hosts, and you'll recognize them from the actual events, we're leading on. They'll have some participants who are part of that conversation as well, and we're going to begin by showing you a version of this talk that took place a couple of weeks ago. But when it comes to the Q&A, and you're welcome to post questions as we go along in the chat, we have the live original cast who can tell you all about the things that were going on and can expand on some of those answers if you like. So this talk is part of a series, but hopefully you can see the feedback links that go with this, because we do really value the feedback of participants. As I say, questions in the chat, but let me quickly allow the team to introduce themselves, and we will start the video. So I'm probably going to start with Jennifer. Do you just want to quickly say hi?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Scott. I'm Education Program Manager for the Mainframe Division at Broadcom. And with that, several of the education programs fall under me.
Lovely. Is Earl back there? Maybe we'll come back to him.
Mute, that'd be fine.
Oh, there you go.
I'm the Vitality Program Tech Lead. And, I've been around a mainframe for a long time. Let's just leave it at that. And, I've been around doing many things, DB2, security, so on, in the mainframe space. And I welcome you guys to our session.
Lovely. Sean, say hello.
Yeah, hello. My name is Sean McShane. I joined Broadcom about 3 years ago. I'm currently a software engineer working on the SysView product.
Wonderful. Ashley, do I see there? You want to say hi?
Hi, yes, I'm Ashley Fogel. I'm a current mainframe Vitality resident specializing in ACF2 security.
Wonderful. Harjis?
Hi, everyone. I'm Harjis. I'm working in the Plano office as a software engineer, and I started with the ASE program about 3 years ago.
Wonderful. So all of these people we're going to see in the video that we show now. As I say, talk to us in the chat, and then we'll have a proper melee at the end. So I'm going to start that off. Starts with some lovely music, and I'll see you when we close it down. Oh, sorry.
Herbert, we can't hear it. Where'd he go?
Okay, hang on. See, and we thought we had it down. Can you hear it now?
No.
Right, hang on, hang on.
Volume, seems like the volume's very low.
Don't worry. We're gonna, I think there are various tricks with this. How about it?
There we go.
Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Earl Dixon. I'm
I'm a longtime DB2 system programmer, and I want to welcome you to our session on mainframe education and the real life stories. I've been around the mainframe for over 25 years. I am now the Broadcom Vitality Program Tech Lead, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Jen Scott, who will introduce herself. Hi, Jen.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Scott. I'm actually an education program manager in the mainframe software division. I cover new hire programs, new to mainframe programs, as well as executive programs. And with us today, we do have a set of panelists that we'd like to introduce. Navia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Jen. Hi, everyone. My name is Navya Kedarpal. I am a software engineer at Broadcom for the Ops MVS team. I did my undergraduates in computer science from Pennsylvania State University about 3 years ago, and I've been with Broadcom since. A fun fact about me is that I'm bilingual. I can speak both Hindi and English fluently.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley Fogel. I am an ACF2 administrator and participant in the Broadcom Vitality Program. I did my undergraduate degree at Florida State University in business management and also my MBA with the concentration of information systems. A fun fact about me is that I am a crafter. I am a sucker for a handmade gift.
Hi, everyone. My name is Harjis Kar. I did my undergrad at UT Dallas, and I have a degree in computer science. I am a software engineer here at Broadcom, and I've been working here for about 3 years. A fun fact about me is that I'm also very into DIY crafts.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean McShane. I'm another software engineer here at Broadcom. I graduated from Duquesne University in Pittsburgh in 2018 with a degree in computer science. Right after college, I hired on to Broadcom, and I am now a software engineer on the SysView team. A fun fact about myself is I have a cat. His name is Samson, and he was born on Halloween.
Hi, I'm Ian. I have a degree in computer information systems from West Texas A&M University, and I am a current Vitality Program resident. Fun fact about me is that I run at least 1 mile every day.
I wish I had that motivation, Ian. With that, I would like to go into a series of questions with you all. So, Sean, I'll start with you. What led you to a career in mainframe?
Yeah, Jen. So like I mentioned, I have a degree in computer science. And throughout my education in college, I felt like I got a really good foundational knowledge in computer science, but was unsure of what area I wanted to enter as a career. I knew I wanted to be in a place where I could be innovative. I wanted to be somewhere that customers were actually using the software I was developing, and somewhere that had a proven track record. And I feel like the mainframe really checks all of those boxes. So I came in and I've been able to innovate every day. I've been able to, work on products, especially SysView, that's used by very large customers, and feel accomplished with the work that I'm doing. So that has been my journey so far.
Yeah, I was in the same boat as you, Sean. My undergraduate provided me with opportunity to learn so many various programming languages. And so when I attended the career fair, I felt confident with my knowledge and skills that I had learned. I believed that I knew what there was to know as a beginner software engineer. But when I met my current manager at the career fair and he told me about mainframe, I realized that my 4 years of studies taught me programming and introduced me to modern technology, but it didn't really introduce me to the big iron of computers. And so the idea of getting to learn a new technology at the job is what intrigued me, and I wanted to go into mainframe as my career.
I actually didn't know anything about the mainframe before I started. The mainframe may have been mentioned in my classes, and I've heard of some of the programming languages, but it wasn't until my university career fair that I had a conversation with Earl, who kind of talked me through what the mainframe is and what it does, and I was fascinated by it. And ultimately, through Earl, I ended up as a resident at the Vitality Program.
Well, that's great that Earl talked you into that. And with that, I know that, there was definitely a learning experience for all of you because you're in the mainframe space now. So I'm curious to know, what was the learning experience at Broadcom? And Harjis, I'd like to start with you.
Okay. So for me, I was a part of the ASC training program. So after I got hired onto mainframe or to Broadcom, I had 1 week to kind of introduce myself to my team, and then I went off to a 6 weeks training program all about the mainframe. So we learned everything we could in that time, and we also learned a little bit about Agile and working on a team. So it was a lot all at once, and it was a lot of good information coming from people who were also either in that program previously or had like years and years of experience. So it was a pretty good learning experience for us.
Yeah, I was in the same ASE class as Harjas. My undergraduate degree didn't really provide me with any background knowledge on mainframe. So the Broadcom ASE training was very intense, very hands-on about mainframe and its functionality. So when I went back to my team, I had pretty good idea of what mainframe is and how to operate it. And my team, instead of pushing me right into coding, they gave me time to be myself and be a quality assurance specialist for the team, where I would test the newly generated code that my teammates would write. That way, while testing the code, I could tell if the software is working as it should, if there are any defects, or if something needs improvement. That just gave me an opportunity to become familiar with the product. So when I went into coding myself, I had a good idea of what I was doing. So that really helped.
Yeah, so very similarly, I'm also a graduate of the Broadcom ASE training program. And like we've heard so far, we learned a lot of mainframe information over those couple weeks, including programming languages, how to just interact and log onto the mainframe and so much more. And not only did I feel like the knowledge I learned was good, but we were also, with other fellow attendees to the ASE training program, we tackled these problems as a team. And it was really good, getting that experience trying to tackle these new, possibly daunting mainframe tasks with a team, because that's, how we'll be doing our work every day. So it was a really good experience.
It's refreshing to hear you talk about both the ASE program as well as your experience within your teams, which sounds like it's been very positive for the three of you. In terms of the Vitality program, Ian and Ashley, I'm going to turn it over to you now. So as Vitality residents, what was it like going through the Vitality program leading up to your residency with the customer?
The Vitality program is a very intense but ultimately rewarding experience. I went from knowing next to nothing about the mainframe to knowing all the basics in about 6 months. So we would start 8 a.m. every morning, and we would go sometimes until 8 p.m. or later. We're covering about 2 years worth of education in 6 months. So we would go through hundreds of pages of material every day, and I would take 10 or more pages of notes every single time. So it's very intense, but we have very good instructors that lead you through every single topic. And if I didn't know something, they were very happy to stay over time until late night hours or even over the weekend to explain the topic or explain the functionality of what I was struggling with. Similarly, my fellow students were very helpful when we were discussing topics or working on projects together. So after a couple of days, I kind of got into the mindset of learning, and before I knew it, I was writing GCL, I was writing reg scripts, I was debugging assembler code and reading COBOL applications. So after a while, you just kind of start absorbing and going with it, trying to keep up with the lectures. And looking back, I was actually amazed that they were able to teach us this much about mainframe in about 6 months it took us to go through the program. So very intense, but very rewarding experience at the end.
Yes, Ian tapped on a lot of points that I can relate to as well. Like Ian, I also didn't know anything about the mainframe, but on top of that, my degree and my background is not in that area. I've worked in corporate America, I've worked in technology before, but never in this capacity. So entering this Broadcom Vitality program, it was like a whole new world. I've never heard of JCL, never heard of Rex. And so everything was brand new and coming at us like a million miles an hour. We referred to it as like drinking from a fire hose. Starting off, in Mainframe Academy, where we're exposed to all of these programming languages, that was a new experience. And like Ian mentioned, we dedicated a lot of time and it took a lot of hours, which was well worth it in the end. The instructors were top notch. As Ian mentioned, if we were up late, they were up late. If we wanted to get up early, they wanted to get up early. And so I, for one, was very grateful for that. We also incorporated the ASE component that Sean, Hodges, and Navia had into the Broadcom Vitality program. So we went through that same type of material, ended with a product-specific training. For me, that was ACF2. And the best component of the overall program was wrapping it up with the mentorship component, where we were paired with real teams to do real work and really contribute on a team, which really prepared us for the residency portion that we're transitioning into now. So very rewarding, a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Thank you both. It sounds like intensive and rewarding and motivated were things that got you through that. And that's really refreshing to hear, both the Vitality side as well as the folks that went through only the ASE program and then moved right into their team. So it sounds like success was really the endpoint that everyone was hoping for everyone. And, you know, last but not least, I really want to understand what challenges have you seen? And this is for everyone. What challenges have you seen and what did you do to overcome them? And we'll start with Navia.
For me, after going back to my team, I started taking projects on my own, and I had a completion date, like a due date that I had to submit those projects by. And the more I completed them, the more comfortable I got with my position as a software engineer at Broadcom. But there were times when I would have no idea about what I was doing. I would be stuck somewhere and not know which direction to go. And because every team member would have work of their own assigned to them, I felt uncomfortable reaching out to them and disturbing them from their own work. But I soon realized when in the team meetings, everyone would share the problems they were facing with their own work, and everyone else in the team would join in and try to solve the problem. I realized that it's not only just acceptable, but it's also expected for us to reach out to our teammates if we ever need guidance or consultants. It's even though we're all working individually, we're still part of one team, and our main goal is to make that product successful. So once I understood that, it was easier for me to reach out and seek help when needed, and that also helped with my team bonding.
Yeah, I can definitely echo some of that with my experience. Working on SysView, a product that's been around for over 35 years, there's a lot to catch up on, if you can believe that. And definitely you cannot be afraid to ask questions. Your teammates with more experience, they want to see not only you succeed, but they want the product to have a future. So definitely you can't be afraid to ask questions. They want to help you out. Another thing that really helped me out and I think could help others is, you know, we've talked about it kind of being a daunting task, learning all of this mainframe knowledge, kind of drinking from a fire hose, like Ashley said. And you need to be, I think, you need to be motivated and interested in what you're learning and learning this new platform. I feel like if I was not as motivated to learn this new stuff, it would have been a lot more challenging and a lot more difficult. So I think being motivated is a good thing to be.
Yeah, and I think for me, one of my biggest challenges was coming back from training thinking that I knew everything because we just had this very intensive 6-week program, and then going to my team and realizing that I don't know that much at all. So kind of doing baby steps, saying this is what I know right now, and being willing to work towards knowing more in the future with the help of everyone on my team. They were super understanding of this is, you know, kind of my first experience on the mainframe as well. So that was really good.
Yes, for me, I can relate to all of the challenges already mentioned, but I would zone in on what Hodges said. If you think about it, anybody that's brave enough to enter this industry as a new mainframer, has to be very ambitious and probably is, very achievement oriented. So you put a lot of pressure on yourself to know everything, and it's technically impossible. And I struggled with that a lot, feeling like I had to know everything. But I've learned through the assistance of my peers and mentors that, there's room to give myself grace. Every day is going to be a learning experience, and I'm not expected to know everything today on day one, and I'll continue to learn, and accepting that has made this process way less stressful. And secondly, I think the other challenge for me was dealing with imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing here? Should I even be here? And the answer is absolutely yes. You can do this. Yes, if with the right amount of drive and dedication, we can all do it, and we'll be successful. It will just take time.
Kind of what Ashley mentioned, mainframe is hard, and sometimes it's a black box to a lot of people. So as a part of my job, I sometimes have to explain to some of my coworkers what is the problem and how to fix it. So I would learn something Monday, and then Tuesday I would have to explain it to someone else. So I had to work up a system where I would just make a guide for myself using just step 1, step 2, step 3 screenshots, so that I can understand, and then by teaching others, I could learn it better myself. So that was my biggest challenge when dealing with mainframe issues.
I loved everything that you all have said, and throughout this whole entire session, I've heard willingness to learn, overwhelming. You don't need to know everything. Success, motivation, rewarding. You all have been such a bright spot in the upcoming mainframers. So I do want to thank you all for being a part of this panel. We truly appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your stories. These are the stories that we need to hear. These are the stories that we want to understand. And with you sharing that with us, we do appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
That was a great message from our panelists. Hearing from them and hearing what their experience has been, what their education has been, is very insightful for all of us. What I'd like to do now is just share briefly the education programs that Broadcom offers. We have new to mainframe as well as expanding knowledge. Our new to mainframe programs involve the Mainframe Academy, which is both instructor-led and self-paced learning that you learn core systems programming skills, and there's a learning roadmap as well as exams associated with it. We also have the Associate Software Engineer program, which is all instructor-led with exercises hands-on, and it brings our new hires up to speed in the mainframe space. We have the Vitality program, which Earl will speak to in a moment, but we also have our Expanding Knowledge, and the Expanding Knowledge is the Mainframe e-learning library, which is product and vendor agnostic training. We have web-based and instructor-led training, which are mainframe product web-based training that's available at no cost to our active maintenance customers and available through a reseller program. And we also have videos out there that are quick training on-the-go videos that will help you succeed. And the mainframe e-learning library, as well as our web-based instructor-led training, those also have the badge program associated with it. And now I would like to turn it over to Earl so that he can expand more on the Vitality program.
Thank you, Jen. Our Mainframe Vitality program is an innovative skill development program to cultivate the next generation of mainframers. Broadcom will hire, train, mentor, and financially support all of our candidates and make them available for hire for our customers. We have a residency period that our customers get to actually work with our residents as they work on their systems, and they get to evaluate, as well as the students evaluating the company, so that they can have a great fit. And the mentoring is the key to all of this, and making sure that we mentor these people the right way so that they have a long career in the mainframe. This program is low to no cost to all of our current customers. Partnering together, we can cultivate a new mainframer.
Wow. Right. Right then. That was the lovely music kicking in Where is my camera? There we go. So, as you know, on this stream, we're very interested in the challenges of creating a new generation. I'd like to hear if we've got some questions, since we've got Shane and Hargis and Ashley here. Have we anything we'd like to ask them? Anything that they can expand on, based on their interviews before? I've got a couple, but I'm going to leave it open for a second to give everyone else a chance. Okay, so my first one would be, what do your friends think of your job on the mainframe?
I'll go first. I think I have two distinct group of friends who understand what computer science is at all, and the other friends who are totally separated. My other friends who I graduated, with the same degree from college with, I think a lot of them have a perspective that the mainframe is, an older piece of technology, and we weren't really exposed to what the mainframe is really used for in college. So I think a lot of people don't even understand, what the mainframe is. They understand that I'm a software engineer, I write code, but it's for a totally different platform than they're working for. So I would think for them, it's just, they don't have a full understanding of what I'm doing, but they like to write code, I like to write code. So I'm sure they would like to do what I'm doing as well. So.
Cool. Ashley, have you a thought on that?
Yes, I would like to say my peers have no idea what I'm doing or what I do. They probably think it's like the Matrix to them to some degree. And I just let them have that because it sounds really cool. And it is really cool to have this specific skill set that no one has, but is in dire need of in the industry. So I just let them think that.
Actually, I think it's a true statement.
I was going to say, Hargis, did you want to chime in?
I mean, my experience has been pretty similar as well. I have one friend who likes to joke that I'm hacking the mainframe because that's the one term that they know. So I think it's pretty cool that we've been around for so long, but at the same time, we're still doing stuff that not a lot of people, at least our age and our peers, would really know about.
Excellent. I often find when I talk to my students that have taken the mainframe route, there's how their friends see it and there's how their family sees it, and there's a whole different range of reactions. We have a question in the chat here. So as a new start in the industry, is feeling a little bit anxious, what sorts of tips would you have about good first steps, or what mistakes did you make that we could learn from?
I'll start. I think as someone that's new to the industry and new to the role, the best thing I believe you can do if the company hasn't done it for you is to get a really strong mentor, someone that is really good at explaining and teaching and really wants to demonstrate. I found that in this industry, there are so many people full of knowledge and they're dying to spill it and share it. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there and express that you want to learn and you're willing to follow and take notes and really be a sponge. I believe it works both ways, the mentor-mentee relationship. And so as much as you want someone to invest in you, you should also show that you're willing to be present and receive the knowledge. And that would be the number one thing I would recommend for anyone new. Get a great mentor.
Yeah, and ask a lot of questions. Just as many questions as you can get out. No question is too small. Just as much information as you can get, really go for that. Go ahead, Sean.
Sorry, Hargis, thanks. Yeah, so I would totally agree. And you mentioned, you're a bit anxious, and I would say, just realize that it's natural, not only for, jumping into the mainframe, but for any industry that's new. You're going to have a lot of times where you feel overwhelmed. Still me, I feel overwhelmed when there's a new like support case that comes in for my product, and it's for a piece of the software that I've never touched. I'm like, oh boy, like, you know, how much research am I gonna have to do? Am I gonna be able to do this? A little bit of imposter syndrome almost, but you know, as you become more experienced, those anxious feelings will subside more. So best of luck to you though. It seems like you're brand new. November 1st, it's like a day or two ago.
Yeah, exactly. And to add on to what these guys have been saying, and I think Ashley said it in the video, is that you are not expected to know everything on day one. You're not even expected to know everything on day 100. You'll learn over time, and in this industry, in this mainframe industry, you will never stop learning. So there's no point where you know it all. You will always be forever learning in this industry. After 25 years, I now know that. So congratulations again.
Yeah, congratulations. And, you know, just to add on, everything that everyone has said is so true. And the other piece of it is everyone within the mainframe space is always willing to help because they want to make sure that you're successful. So, you know, in addition to what everyone has said, that's something to think about as well. Everyone wants to make sure that you're successful. So use that.
This brings me to another question. You've reminded me of this one. Some of my students have said to me, the mainframe isn't a platform, it's more a community. What are the most interesting things you found out about this particular community or tech tribe, as I sometimes call them, so far?
I would definitely agree that it's true. You know, going to whenever we actually had in-person conferences and even virtual conferences, you know, you get a lot of experiences or opportunities to network with different people in the community. And, you know, I work with customers a lot via support cases that they open. And I would agree that compared to like the distributed platform, it feels like the mainframe, it's more like that community is more tight knit. You know, there's obviously a little bit more history with the people there. And yeah, I would say it's like a family almost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ashley, got some thoughts on that? What have you noticed so far about this particular community you're now in?
Like Sean said, you know, I noticed that it's very tight knit, and the amount of excitement that someone has when they realize you're in the community or know COBOL or JCL, they're like, what? And instantly you're like the missing cousin that they never knew, and they like welcome you and they want to embrace you and they want to plug you in to other people that they know. And it's just been such a wealth of warm hugs and resources, I would say.
That's because a lot of us guys with all of this gray hair want to retire one day and know that somebody can come along and actually do the work for us.
Got it.
So we're very happy to see you guys.
Had you any thoughts on that, Hargis, the community end?
Oh yeah, it's been a little bit surprising how much everyone knows, even if it's not their area of expertise. They've just been around for so long, or they just know someone who knows something about this. Like the community is very, very vast and expansive, and everyone knows each other, which is shocking, but also pretty exciting that we have that kind of wealth of information. Just at asking one person, we can get so much.
So we heard something about when we said you know, that wealth of information, and we were hearing from Ian. That sounds like a pretty hardcore experience there, 8 to 8, 2 years worth of work in 6 months. How do you handle the either pace and B, the volume of things that you're trying to learn? What's your strategy been?
Well, I can speak to that for sure. I was in that same cohort as Ian. So once you get past the initial shock of it all, you spend the first few days just staring, and we did it all virtually. And so it required extremely good note-taking skills and a lot of review. At the end of the day, there could not be a day that I did not go back and try to decipher my notes to make sure I understood them, jot down questions to ask the next day. You don't let another day go by unanswered questions, because then it just piles up and it becomes a snowball effect of confusion. So in order to handle that volume, you have to review every day, practice every day, and ask your questions every single day.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And I think, different people have different learning styles. And for me, one thing I really appreciated about the ASC training program was, it's not like there's a lot of like PowerPoint, learning, taking notes, but there's also a lot of putting what we're learning into practice and actually doing it. So for me, that's definitely something that helped is, actually taking what we're learning and, making a concrete example out of it and actually taking some action with it. So I like that about the program.
Yeah, and something I also liked is that we were able to do it hands-on and also in like a group setting. So if we had questions, we could ask either someone sitting right next to us or like who was teaching us. So it was very, very hands-on with a lot of extra resources at all times.
Lovely.
Can I tag on to what Hodges just mentioned? I'm sorry. The do it in the group part was really helpful as well, because you get to get other points of view of how someone would tackle the same exact problem, and seeing how other people work through and practice is extremely helpful as well. So you don't have to sit there and practice by yourself. You can actually practice in these buddy systems, which was very helpful, like Hodges mentioned.
Yeah, no, it's funny. If any of my students have joined this, I do run a module which involves note taking and how you form a study group and that kind of thing. And there's a reason I bring this up. I'm not doing it for no reason. One thing I wanted to ask Jennifer and Earl, why do you think it's so important to be bringing a new generation of mainframers online? Because obviously this is something that takes up quite a bit of your time. Why do you think it's something that's worth doing?
Earl, I'll let you go first.
Okay, I mean, for me, the importance is, when I came up in the mainframe, I came up when a lot of the guys that are retiring today, they were in their prime and they didn't want to see me coming. And now that they're getting older, they're wanting to pass this knowledge on. And so it is very important that we show a lot of these younger people what they can have in this mainframe space from a career standpoint. I mean, it's very satisfying work. I mean, it's very rewarding work. I mean, as an industry, we probably pay more than all other industries in IT. And it's something that you can brag to your friends about and they know nothing about what you do. And we've said that over and over, but the bottom line is it's critically important that we keep replenishing this mainframe group so that we have that longevity that, customers aren't saying, well, I can't find talent. Well, we'll create it for you. And we have other people out here in other places that are doing the same thing so that we can replenish this ecosystem of the mainframe, and also, of course, we're Broadcom, so we're also, helping out our own customers at the same time, but we want to replenish the entire ecosystem of the mainframe.
And to that, we also, those in the mainframe community, we understand that the mainframe runs the world. And since the mainframe runs the world, we want to make sure that it can continue to run the world, can continue to keep up the security practices that we have. Those are things that we know. So being able to share that knowledge. I started in CA Technologies, and it was back in the day where I was in sales, and all of the folks that I had worked with have since retired. And one of the common things that they were saying before they retired is, I want to share my knowledge with somebody else, but there's not a somebody else that's coming on board. And that was almost 25 years ago. So they want to share, like Earl was saying, they want to share this knowledge. They are excited to share this knowledge. They see what the mainframe has done in their career, in their lifetime. So they want to be able to share that with the younger generations and with the folks that are coming on board. They see the potential, they know what's out there, they know what it means to the world, and they just want to make sure that everyone else knows as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much. One for the newcomers now. Just say there's somebody out there watching this who wants to know, could I make it as a mainframer? Have I got have I got what it takes? Have I got the personality traits? What would you say to them? What things should they look for? What questions should they be asking themselves to know if this is an area for them?
Listen very closely, Niall. This is just for you.
That's a good question. I would say, first off, I think you have to be technically minded. Depending on where you're at in the mainframe, you don't have to be as technical. But if you're like a software engineer or some type of developer, you're gonna get deep into the weeds and technical issues, and it's a lot easier to do your job if you can understand those a little bit better. Obviously, like we talked about in the video, you kind of need to be a little bit motivated and interested in what you're learning, because if you're not, you'll easily get overwhelmed, and you need to have that little push to get you to want to learn and take advantage of everything you're learning for your job. Other than that, it's kind of hard to say. You just have to be not afraid to jump into a new challenge, I guess.
Excellent.
Yeah, the number one thing you should be asking yourself is, do I like a challenge? Do I like to be tested? Am I persistent? Can I stick to it when it seems like it is overwhelming? Because those are the things you're going to need. If you're not patient either with yourself and with your learning process, you're going to have to dig for patience, dig for grace, accept challenges, and stay motivated. If those things are you, then I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's basically all you need to be, is motivated and ready for a challenge, and you'll be able to do it. It's challenging, but it's very doable at the same time if you stick to it.
Excellent. Trainers, can I ask, what challenges do you see coming down the track for these guys in the next 5 years? What are the big questions you think they're going to have to ask themselves and answer?
Well, for me, I think that they'll have to, and I know I've heard, Greg Locke say this before, you should really look at your career every year, and see where you are. And if you're happy, and if you're not, make a change to get to that happy place for your career. Make your career work for you. Make your career make you happy. And whatever that is in your life, whether it's, learning a new skill within what you already do, but make sure you're happy with what you do, so that 5 years from now, you're not a miserable person in your job. And that goes for wherever you work. But in this mainframe space, if you're forever learning, then you're understanding, and you'll feel a lot better about your position, because you'll go through things with a lot more ease than if you just stay stagnant and just do the same thing over and over. Always reinvent yourself within your space. And that would be the advice that I would give you. I've had to do that, where I have gotten stagnant within my career as a DB2 system programmer. So I added other challenges to that plate, and it made me more fulfilled to be able to keep going and keep pushing on, so that I know this is where I was supposed to be.
And really, when you think about the mainframe world, it's not one role. There are so many different roles within the mainframe space that each day you learn something new, whether it's the role that you're in, me being in education, or, Hargis, Ashley, or Sean within their roles. So each day you should be learning something new, which enables you to grow. It also enables you to see, hey, you know what? I might be in education, but perhaps I want to go into a different area of the mainframe space. So you get to see what those different areas are. And that's actually the beauty of this community, is you're not pigeonholed into one particular role or one particular area. You learn everything you possibly can, and then expand that as well.
Yes, and I've told most of the students that come through the program that when you get out into this field, master what you've been taught, master what you're going in there to learn, what you're being hired for, but don't let that limit you. Learn everything about the mainframe, and that way you get to dictate where you want to go within that space.
Yep. And one of the things, I mean, Ashley, I believe it was that brought it up in terms of mentoring and networking. One of the things that you'll find out is, even the folks that are on this session right now, network with the people that you're meeting. If you've only met them one time, it doesn't matter. Network with those folks. Go on to LinkedIn, reach out to the folks that are in the mainframe space, ask questions. If you see something within their profile that you want to know more about, connect with them, send them a message, find out more about that particular area. That networking piece and that mentoring piece, that's going to enable you to find the mentor that you want. That's going to enable you to see the different areas that are out there. And you can ask those questions. I mean, we've heard from Hargis and Ashley and Sean, ask the questions. If you go out there and do that, that's going to really help you be successful as well.
Absolutely. And, along the lines of this, if we're talking about the students and people new to the mainframe, if there are any, either hiring managers or managers in position to hire, some of the critical things that you guys need to be thinking about as you bring on, new mainframe talent is, number one, getting them the education that they need so that they can start off strong. And number two, as Jen mentioned, have a strong mentor for those individuals, someone that they could work alongside that can help their career flourish as they move through. Those two things, I think, will guarantee that you have a longevity with those individuals. We have heard from a lot of industry leaders who say that, well, they have these training programs and they bring people through, but they're not staying. Well, they're not staying because they don't have the support around it. You can train people, but you have to have the support that goes along with it. And that mentorship is the key to it. And putting the right mentors with the right people is even more critical.
And that ties in very much with the question I had next, in a way, so you may have covered some of that. These guys, we are hoping that they are going to take their place among the leadership on the platform. So what advice could we give them to help them prepare to be leaders, be it technical leaders or be it leaders in strategy and management? Because I guess the feel we get is that is probably where we're going, right?
Well, for me, I spent a lot of time down in the trenches, was offered a lot of management positions. I was like, no, I want to stay technical. But for those that do want to be leaders, learn how to lead by example. Don't just be a leader to dictate to people. Be a leader that takes their own words and uses them just as you would give them out. Like, don't just bark out orders. Be a person that goes along with the same program. Be what you want them to be. And that will make you a much better leader.
I think,
and that's
also,
technical or otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Earl, I didn't mean to jump in there. I think also you need to be willing to put your ego aside and know that what you're doing is for the betterment of the team. So it's not all about you, it's all about all of the people that you've surrounded yourself with. So even if you want to get into a management position, or if you only want to be in a leadership position where you don't have direct reports, as long as you know that you can hang your ego outside of the office door before you go in, you have work that needs to be done that's valuable work, and you know that your team is there to work with you, and surround yourself by those people that you want to make sure are successful. And you're willing to put everything on the line to help those folks be successful. I think that that's something else to think about when it comes to leadership.
Absolutely. That is so correct. And I mean, if you are a manager with direct reports, those direct reports that you have, if you give them the tools that they need, then you automatically look good as a leader because they're doing what they need based on what you've given them to succeed.
Wonderful. Thanks very much. Very, very, very full, very thoughtful answers. Much appreciated. I'm going to leave. We've got about 5 minutes or so left. So I will give the last word to our three new starters. What do you think the world should hear you say about your experiences, about anything? Well, what would you like us to take away from this? I think you're muted.
Yeah, I will go first. Another great question, by the way. These are all good questions. What would I want the world to hear about my journey? You know, it's been good, and I'm happy where I am. You know, I feel fulfilled with my career. I feel fulfilled with the work that I do. Like I mentioned in the video, you know, I have the ability to, you know, innovate in my job, and it's not like I'm just following these pre-made steps for me every day when I come in. You know, every day it's something new and something exciting and challenging, something interesting. So I think that's really what I was looking for out of a career, something that I felt, you know, fulfilled with, and something that had meaning to me. So I'd say overall, I want the world to know that I am happy where I am and I feel fulfilled.
Excellent.
My message caters to the career pivoters or career changers, I would say, because I didn't start mainframe straight out of college. I've worked in other places before and decided to make a pivot. And for those that are in a similar situation, just know your journey is yours. It doesn't have to look like everyone's, and you can make it what you want. Like Earl said, if you want to transition into management within the mainframe, then that's what you do. If you want to stay technical, then that's what you do. But you also have to be willing to invest in yourself and do what needs to be done to make that happen. And you can absolutely do that. Just, again, advocate for yourself. No one's going to speak up for you. No one's going to do it for you better than you can do it. So make sure you keep that at the forefront of your career, in your journey. If you are pivoting, make it what you want, so that you can reap the benefits that you want when you decided to make this change.
Oh, just something from you?
Oh, did we lose Hargis? There you go.
Sorry, I'm here. I think everyone hit it on the mark.
Oh, we lost you.
I think she's over there working, probably.
Right. Okay, she's back and forth. It's okay. But before I bring the leaders in to finish off, I would just ask: have you had a look at the agenda for the rest of GSE, and have you identified any talks that you'd like to go through? Are there any that you've seen from the agenda that you think would be right for you? That look, and remember, this is me, an experienced academic. That look probably means maybe I haven't had a full look at the agenda. I recommend that you do, because as people hungry for knowledge, I'm sure that there are things on there. In fact, I know there are that you would really enjoy, the same way I know people would enjoy this session. Anyway,
Well, if you don't know, I'm going to make a shameless plug for one.
Go right ahead.
We actually have one that's going to be starting, and it's very similar to this, with some European new mainframers, and they're the companies that they're working for. And actually, it's so funny, and so happens that one of them is actually a Vitality resident in Europe going through ACF2 training right now, Ashley. So you might want to attend that one. It's actually 12 UK time, 8 a.m. US time, US Eastern time. So
Okay.
I would encourage you guys to come to that. It's similar, and you get to see the stories of people from around the world that are going through the same things that you guys have gone through. And, you know, hearing you talk, they have similar stories, and it would be interesting. You guys may even be able to come on there and give them some advice. Oh, and just by the way, the name of it is New Mainframers Talk Candidly.
That is tomorrow, no, Thursday.
Yeah,
tomorrow. It is tomorrow. Yes.
Yeah, that's Be there, Herbert, because
Yes.
you're starting it.
It's in trouble if I miss it. Jennifer, did you have a last word for us?
Just that, you know, in the mainframe space, we're happy to be here. Our success is your success. So one of the things that, and you know, you can ask Ashley, Hargis, and Sean, one of the things that I reiterate within the class, within the ASC classes, we want everyone to be successful and we're there for you. So whatever it is that we need to do to help you be successful, that's what it's all about. You know, Sean had mentioned about the community being a family. It really is a family. And, you know, what do you want your family to do? You want your family to succeed. And that's really what it's all about for us. That's the fulfillment that we get.
Lovely. Right. Well, I think we just about have time to give our speakers a round of applause. If you'd like to unmute. And thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Please do put your feedback on the link that comes when you joined up, because we'd love to hear what you thought. And have a great time with the rest of the conference. And speakers, again, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.